Welcome to my franchise review for Enchanted. With the release of Disenchanted, I went back to the original and watched the newly released sequel to compare the two and see if it's a worthy follow-up. Let's get right into the first film, the original from 2007, Enchanted. In the fairy tale land of Andalasia, pretty young Giselle frolics with her woodland pals and falls in love with the handsome Prince Edward. But when Giselle arrives at the castle to marry her Prince Charming, his evil stepmother sends the princess-to-be to a place where there are no happily ever afters, the gritty streets of modern-day Manhattan. Shocked by this strange new environment, Giselle is now adrift in a chaotic world badly in need of enchantment. Cynical divorce lawyer Robert comes to her rescue, but can Giselle find her way back to her true love? Can a storybook view of romance survive in the real world? This is available for streaming on Disney Plus in both Canada and the US, and on Fubo TV in the US as well. I hadn't seen this movie in many, many years, and despite knowing that I enjoyed it, I didn't realize how much I had enjoyed this film until I rewatched it for this video. Amy Adams embodied Giselle, and from what I've heard about her on set of the sequel, both Amy and Giselle are two completely different people inhabiting the same body. I thought the songs and choreography were excellent. The overall film was pretty funny, besides one or two juvenile jokes. I loved how they took the tropes of princess films from the past and largely flipped them on their head, while still fitting in the genre and referencing the films that came before it. I'm just going to go over some of the references that I caught. You may have noticed some. If you noticed something that I didn't, please put it in the comments below. I'd love to know. So first one that I noticed is that there's a poison apple and dwarves, of which Grumpy was mentioned by name. That's all referencing Snow White. In the song How Does She Know, there's Giselle and Robert are rowing their boat through the stream with a bunch of people singing around them. That's referencing The Little Mermaid. There's Animal Helpers and The Forgotten Slipper. Animal Helpers is a lot of these films, but specifically that Forgotten Slipper is a reference to Cinderella. A Sleep Like Death and True Love's Kiss Breaking the Spell is referencing Snow White and Sleeping Beauty. The Dragon is another reference from Sleeping Beauty, and additionally there's a reference to King Kong with the dragon hanging off the top of the building with someone in her claws. In the Duke Hotel, where the prince and Nathaniel are staying, the TV plays a little bit of Tale as Old as Time from Beauty and the Beast during the soap opera scene. I rated this film a 4 out of 5, but I could have seen myself bumping it up to a 4.5 out of 5. Now let's move on to the recently released sequel, Disenchanted. Disillusioned with life in the city, feeling out of place in suburbia, and frustrated that her happily ever after hasn't been so easy to maintain, Giselle turns to the magic of Andalasia for help, accidentally transforming the entire town into a real-life fairy tale and placing her family's future happiness in jeopardy. She must race against time to reverse the spell and determine what happily ever after truly means for her and her family. This is streaming exclusively on Disney Plus in Canada and the US, and probably elsewhere since it is a Disney Plus original. I felt that this was a worthy successor to the original, despite my feeling that it didn't match entirely in terms of quality. I was pleasantly surprised because the marketing material didn't really impress me. The story had some predictable moments, especially regarding the ending, which I knew pretty much as soon as the introduction of the wishing wand. The actors were all pretty good. Amy Adams again kills it in her dual performance as her bubbly character and the wicked stepmother. They did a great job at recasting Morgan. You can't notice really any difference between the two actors. Maya Rudolph hams it up as the evil queen, but doesn't get annoying as in other films this year. See my review for The Princess for more details. It's sad that this plot wouldn't have happened had Giselle learned from Wong and Doctor Strange to always read the warning before performing a spell. I will mention that the songs aren't as memorable as the first one, but they may age better with time since the original got airtime on television and homes since its release, although this film likely won't see television networks outside of Disney Plus, so I don't foresee it getting as much viewership as the original. Comparing this series to Hocus Pocus and its recent sequel, I felt that this did a much better job at capturing the spirit of the original while differentiating itself, unlike how Hocus Pocus 2 moreover coasted on the nostalgia for the original. After seeing this movie, I actually dropped my rating for Hocus Pocus 2 down to a 3 out of 5, and could see maybe it dropping further if I rewatched it. I've seen some criticisms online about Maya Rudolph's character potentially being unnecessary to the plot and taking away from what could have been a great mother-daughter story between Giselle and Morgan. While I can see their point of view, I also wouldn't want to lose the dual villain song between Maya Rudolph and Amy Adams, considering that used to be a staple of Disney films and it's been sort of pushed to the side for more recent fare.
You may think you're bad, but darling, I am better. Really, sweetie, where's the thrilling? Being just a has-been, a wannabe villain.
Not saying that Disney films now are bad in comparison to the older films. It's just to say that they've changed to a more nuanced perspective that there is no villain necessarily. It's just not so black and white. I rated this a 3.5 out of 5 and would recommend checking it out with an open mind. Thank you for watching. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button. If you have any recommendations, trivia, or thoughts about these films, please leave a comment down below. I'm not too sure what my next video will be, but I may film a review of Spike Jonze's films or Alfonso Cuarón, and I'm still working through my Criterion challenge with 19 films left before the end of the year, and when I finish that, I will make a video for that series. Thanks again for watching, and I wish you every happiness.